person from Harvard Law School who's in the community and listening and doing things, helping the community. So I got interested in finding out who she was, and I'm glad I did. Emily kind of set the tone. She did things like start the Mississippi Food Policy Institute, which I didn't know what that would do, but it's been very instrumental in bringing together those who make food, those who regulate food, those who eat food, and food has become, as you know, became her expertise, and she started the Food Law and Policy Institute at Harvard. Emma, I probably got the name wrong, but
clinic, but very close.
Very close, good. You can look up and see what exactly it is. So that was very intriguing to me because so often we don't have a lot of smart, capable, hardworking, young brains coming to the Delta. We have too many of them leaving. And so having those kind of people like the Delta scholars and those of you from Harvard and from other universities, even from the Ole Miss and Mississippi State, are not that far away, but bring a fresh set of eyes to the issues that we're dealing with in the Delta. Our community foundation connects people who care with causes that matter. And the two main causes that we selected and we started 22 years ago were education and health, and particularly for children. I mean, our kind of overriding vision is if kids can be healthy and educated by the time they're 18, well, they're on their way. And that's about all we can do. We can't solve all the problems. If we can do that, then we've made a good start on this. So we find that the focus of the Delta Directions, particularly on health, is right down our alley. And really we want to do education because we think that's the key to economic development. So that's really why we're interested. We don't do economic development per se, but we try to lay the groundwork with health and education. So the economic renewal we're very, very interested in as well. So with the Delta Fellows, been a long line of really good Delta legal fellows, and Jillian is the latest in that line. Many accomplishments. If you want to pick up one of these little books, it's several years old, but it gives some of the early successes, like starting the diaper bank. Delta Legal Fellow started that. Just we didn't know about that. We didn't know how to institutionalize. I mean, mothers had problems getting diapers and other essentials. We didn't quite know how to organize to do that. But Deska Ref did. And so she helped us get that organized, and Chalisa Presley, who I'm hoping you're going to meet later on, has really run with it and made it a national kind of model. Baby University. We found out you can't do baby college like they do in Harlem because that's copyrighted. But we can do the same sort of thing, and so Delta Legal Fellow helped us set up Baby University here in Clarksdale, and it's great. So there's several specific things like that. What we find out from the Community Foundation is we connect donors, and we're very interested in nonprofits, and we live in this world. We want to be a better world, but we need some smarts, and that's really where the academic connections really help us, because it helps us, fresh set of eyes, fresh set of experiences, research, bringing things together that we just don't have. So the Delta Direction has been very useful, very important to the Community Foundation and to the Delta. And I'm going to close with one thing that's totally unrelated to the Delta Directions, but to me it's inspirational, and it shows what can happen. Too often we in the Delta and in Mississippi generally think, oh gosh, we're 50th, we've been 50th forever, and everything that matters, and we're going to stay 50th, dadgummit it, woe is us. And that's been the kind of the mode for as long as I've been alive. And but recently, it came to my attention, I don't know if you read sometimes it takes an outsider to help us see ourselves more clearly. Nicholas Kristof, New York Times columnist, came into Mississippi and wrote a great column based on the fact that Mississippi 20 years ago, as it always had been, was 50th in reading scores among third graders. And reading scores among third graders are very important if you're reading below grade level. Well, that's how they predict the prison population in 15 or so years. If you don't know how to read on grade level, you're kind of consigned to having problems throughout school and beyond. So that's critical. Mississippi was 50 forever. Jim Barksdale gave $100 million to University of Mississippi 22 years ago. And that was back when $100 million was a lot of money. Gave $100 million to do one thing, improve reading of kids in Mississippi. And they went down many different roads that failed, like finding your way through a maze, dead ends, but they found some successes, kept building on those, and working with the State Department of Education, working with academic institutions, working with local school districts, working with local teachers, until at the last testing, educational assessment testing of third graders, Mississippi ranked 29th. That's not bad. It's pretty daggone good. But let me tell you the really good news. When some groups broke it out by demographics, and because of our poverty, and poor kids tend to do worse on these standardized tests than others, so when they adjusted it by demographics, our poor kids in Mississippi were number one among poor kids in the United States. That's amazing, isn't it? And they were number two in math. Because, it makes sense, so much of math is being to read something to figure out what to do. But number one and number two in the country, third graders, in reading and math among poor kids. And so when you adjusted by demographics for Mississippi, we actually, I think, were third or fourth in reading in the country. So I just point that out to say, I read a thing today, a new study about public health and the health outcomes in Mississippi. Well, we're 50th again. And, we kind of can just do nothing. But we got folks sitting working together, Sandy Snell, 12 years, and Sandy's been working with local groups and folks from Harvard and such, to begin just trying to address the root causes of those problems of ill health. And if we could get together and get it organized and focused on, our governor says he wants Mississippi to be the best state for an unborn child. I would like to be the best state for a born child. And if we could just get focused on that, and the resources in Delta Directions are there, we can just figure out how to pull it together, stay focused for another 20 years, maybe we won't be 50th in health anymore. So anyway, thank you all.